जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते, सोई सोई देवै। जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते, सोई सोई देवै। नानक दास मुख ते जो बोले, इहाँ उहाँ सच होवे। नानक दास मुख ते जो बोले, इहाँ उहाँ सच होवे। जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते, सोई सोई देवै।
Is the path of the masters different from the mindfulness path? If yes, then what is the difference?
Very much so, because if, as has been mentioned in previous discourses and questions and so on, if we are composed as human beings of a body, a mind and a soul alloyed together, then in order to become our true self, to discard the imposter selves or the false self, which is the mind and body, we need somebody to tell us how to do this. Just like we need to learn anything, we need a teacher. We need somebody to instruct us and to guide us and to support us in this activity. So as has been answered previously, we need somebody competent, and that's such a competent being we call a holy master, because in this case, we're trying to find our holy truth. So the path of the holy master is different from mindfulness, in that mindfulness is only about reaching the maximum level or capacity of the mind, and to let the mind just run free in an uncontrolled way. In other words, just let it be. So the path of mindfulness is about observing how the mind is thinking, operating, watching it, observing it, and being fascinated. But the person who's doing that is a higher mind being, because mind itself is divided up into three layers. You have the lower or emotional mind that a lot of people identify with. Then you have the middle or intellectual mind that the scholars and the scientists and the philosophers are involved with. And then you have spiritual mind that the spiritual practitioners are interested in. Now, if spiritual mind dominates the other two, then this person, we say they're spiritual. They inquire after spirituality, they follow spiritual paths, they may be very religious and various other things, but they have that need in them to seek something more than the mundane existence of physical life. So going back to mindfulness, so a person who operates at the level of the mind is having all these noble thoughts, but this is just a thought. It's not an actual experience. It is not an actual state of being. Real spirituality is actually being aware beyond the need for an analysis by a mind or any third party. It is becoming one with that state of awareness. So the mindfulness path is about using the mind to analyze and question the meaning of life and so on, which is a great start. It's much better than just being an ignorant being living like an animal existence on life without questioning anything. So at least the mindfulness practitioner is asking the right question. The trouble is that by philosophizing about this in a mind way, they never actually attain it. That's like me reading a recipe book and keep on reading the recipe book, hoping that it's going to nourish me with a meal. It's not going to cook the food for me. It's not going to nourish me just by reading about it. I'll have endless knowledge about the recipe, how to make it. I can describe to whole crowds of people how to make this wonderful recipe. But because I've never actually experienced it directly, I've never actually risen to that point where I'm able to enjoy the food, I cannot fully appreciate it. And that's why mindfulness is lacking in this. Because mindfulness is all about debating, understanding, intellectualizing, analyzing, and so on. But it doesn't actually give you that experience. Knowing about something and experiencing it is something very different. So the path of mindfulness is different, and it takes you to the maximum level of knowledge and understanding, and even some lower levels of experience, but it does not give you the ultimate experience of the soul. Because the path of mindfulness only deals with the path of the mind. It does not expose your real identity, which is the soul. And if the soul is the real you need to do something about finding or connecting with the real you. So the path of the masters, or the path of the saints, or the enlightened ones, or the noble mystics, or perfect saints, these ones are ones who have attained the level of their true self or soul. Therefore, by following them, or following the path that they have set out to do this and attain this, will allow you to reach the level of the soul which lays beyond the mindfulness path, way beyond. So that is what the difference is, and hopefully that is explained for the questioner, the difference between level of mind and the level of the soul, and why we need a living master.